This interview of our Today's Campus Innovation Interview Series is brought to you by Six Sigma Management Institute. Visit sixsigmamindpro.com to learn more about MindPro, the online Lean Six Sigma training system developed by the co-creator of Six Sigma, Dr. Michael J. Harry. Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of our Today's Campus Innovation Interview Series. My name is Kirsten Winkler. I'm the Innovation Editor, and today my guest is Anant Agarwal. He is the president of edX. Welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
So, Professor Agarwal, let's start with a very brief question. And of course, we all like to know, what is edX?
So, edX is a non-profit venture started by Harvard and MIT, where they invested $60 million into this effort. And our vision is to dramatically increase access to education for students around the world, while at the same time reinventing how we educate students on our own campuses. So we have a dual mission. We are a portal, edX.org, where we have 12 university partners right now. We have 25 courses on the platform, so students from around the world can come to edX.org and take courses. edX.org is also a community of these students. We have about 725,000 students from all around the world registered on our platform, taking these courses from 192 countries.
And for you personally, we can say that you're very accomplished in your career. What was the motivation to become the first president of this project of edX?
The mission was absolutely amazing. I found it to be a complete no-brainer to stop doing everything else that I was doing. I was the director of the computer science and AI lab at MIT. I also had a large research group with a number of research students. I was also teaching regular campus classes. And so that was a very, very exciting time for me. Yet at the same time, I had this opportunity to work with an organization such as edX, a nonprofit, that was looking to completely reimagine education, both in our own campuses and worldwide. And so I felt that I could really help and make an impact beyond what I was doing. And so therefore I felt I should do edX.
You already referred to edX being a non-profit, so unlike some of the other, maybe similar players or projects in higher education. So how do we have to imagine this? Is edX really about, also referring to MIT OpenCourseWare initiative or project, is edX about data? Is it research? How would you phrase it for yourselves?
So edX is about reimagining education. So as a nonprofit, we want to impact as many people around the world as we can, and we also want to improve our own campus education. We are doing research on how students learn so we can improve the whole education process. As a nonprofit, we are releasing our platform as open source software, so that anybody in the world can take this platform and improve upon it and host their own systems and so on. And so our mission here is to really increase access to education while at the same time improving our own campus education. We host courses, some of the best courses in the world from the best professors and best universities. And as a nonprofit, we are looking to sustain ourselves. And we place principle over profit as we make decisions in a nonprofit venture.
So, as you just said, bringing education or making education from top professors, top courses, and making it accessible worldwide, so opening education to people who might have not have had the access to it prior to edX and the initiative. I would, of course, be interested in, of course, this is all relatively new, but how many people are taking the courses? Maybe even more interestingly, how many completed?
So the numbers in all of these MOOCs are absolutely staggering, and that is something that certainly caused all of us to be taken by surprise. So the very first course that we taught about a year ago was a course on circuits and electronics. It was an MIT hard course with differential equations as prerequisites, and we still had 155,000 students from around the world take the course. Now, many of our other courses have similar numbers. So, for example, the computer science course from Harvard X had over 140,000 students take it. Now, the public health course from Harvard X had about 60,000 students from all over the world take the course. So the numbers are pretty amazing. In terms of how many students complete the course, that really varies by subject, the difficulty level of the course, and how much background the students have in the course. And so, of the 155,000 students that took our course, the active learners, defined as students that clicked on an exercise or a homework, those are active learners. Those were about 26,000. Okay. So, and the people that passed the course were 7,200. So if you look at percentages, about around 30% of the active students passed the course. But if you look at the total number of students that registered for our first course, it was more like a 5% pass rate. So in general, depending on how you use the statistics, these rates can vary. But generally, if you take the total number of students registering for a course, the 155,000, for example, our pass rates have been anywhere from between 5 and 20%, depending on the course.
You currently offer a certificate of completion, I think. What does it say in terms of comparison to, of course, when I am a, let's say, traditional student at MIT, and of course pay significantly more for my education?
So when universities offer courses on the edX platform, they offer courses under the X brand. So, for example, EPFL Lausanne came on board the edX platform, and they will be offering courses under the name EPFL X. And the reason we added X to the university name when they offer courses on edX is because the courses that people take, students around the world take on the edX platform, and excuse me, the courses that people take on the edX platform has an experience that is fundamentally different from an on-campus experience. It's not the same. So when they take courses on edX, we give them a certificate. It is a certificate of mastery. The certificate says MIT X or Berkeley X on it when students have successfully passed a course. And the certificate is signed by the professor and a university official. And so it's a nice looking certificate. And students are using these certificates in a variety of ways. They can use a certificate in their resume as they apply for jobs. We had a student that got a job with a company in New York, and they credited taking a course at edX with getting that job. 10 students from the University of Mongolia got local campus credit for the circuits course that they took. So a number of students are getting local campus credit for taking edX courses. And at the same time, students are using these certificates as a way of advancing their careers. A number of students who did well on our course, who were high schoolers, applied to MIT and Berkeley and Harvard and so on. As one example, we had a student called Batushig from Mongolia. He applied to both MIT and Berkeley. And in fact, I wrote a letter of recommendation for him because he was a prodigy. He scored a perfect 100 on the course. And I wrote a letter for him for the MIT admissions office.
What do you think a little bit down the line might be the impact of not only having more and more students having access to online education, sometimes in a more blended approach of on-campus and online, but also having the option of a edX certificate of mastery on the job market when we have, apparently in the future, more and more educated people with a certificate, diploma in one way or the other.
Online education can be a true game changer, not just for students around the world who are taking these courses, but also for our campuses. So we have data that we're gathering, and it's early data, but the data is showing, excuse me, but the data is showing that we can dramatically improve our campus education as well. We can improve the quality of education on our campuses by combining online with in-person education. So as an example, San Jose State University licensed an edX course and taught it on their own campus. And the traditional retake rate for the course was 41%. With the edX course, the result was staggeringly better. The retake rate dropped to 9%. So the result was absolutely amazing. Even for students around the world, as we have more and more students have these certificates of mastery from world-renowned universities like University of Toronto, MIT, EPFL, Berkeley, and so on. With these certificates, our hope is, and students are telling us this already, that they will have much better opportunity and much better access to improving their careers, either get better jobs or changing their fields or get better admission into better colleges and universities based on the initiative that they've taken in taking this course and on the grades that they've gotten. Mm-hmm. So edX maintains a record of these students. Each certificate has a unique universal identifier that edX uses to track the student certificate. So an employer or a university can use that ID and verify that student indeed got that certificate. And so my belief is that down the road, as more and more students begin using these certificates and credentials, that this will become an online learning will become an ultimate democratizer, where everybody around the world will have better access to opportunity than previously.
And also amongst employers, more maybe giving more credibility to online learning and the certificates obtained by it.
Yes, so as employers begin hiring people that come with the certificate, and we've seen examples of this, like the example that I mentioned, where an engineer, got a job and he credits the edX certificate and the edX course that he took for that, and as they do well in their companies, I think employers will also begin to seek out and look for people that show initiative in taking these courses and do well in these courses. So there are two things. There's the fact that they've taken the initiative to take a course and the fact that they did well are both important to employers. And as employers see these employees doing well, I think they will come to, and as the reputation of the certificate from edX increases, they will be looking more and more at the admissions officers across many campuses. They're also now, thinking about how does this impact their admissions processes. They're already used to looking at SAT scores and ACT scores and so on in the admissions process. And there's now discussions about thinking about how they can use these other credentials from edX by taking courses from some of the best universities and best professors and use those in their admissions process as well.
Mm-hmm. You already referred to, let's say, on the course side, after initial experiences in the States, that edX is now ready to, do this on an international scale, including partner universities, from Canada, obviously, but now also Europe. What was the aim behind that?
So last week we doubled the number of partners. We added partners from Australia, from the U.S., from Europe, and Canada, Australia as well. And so by doing so, we expect to bring on some of the best universities in the world to be part of our consortium of universities. It increases the diversity of the platform, where every university may teach the same course, even if it's the same course a little differently. They put their own imprimatur on the course. And students get access to very diverse opinions and diverse ways of teaching. And so we hope to increase the diversity of courses on the platform. We hope to increase the diversity of languages on the platform as well. Australian National University, for example, wants to teach courses in Hindi and Sanskrit. And EPFL and McGill are interested in doing courses in both English and in French. So there's a lot of interest across the universities to do courses in a variety of languages. And we also want to encourage students in these countries to take courses on edX. And by partnering with universities in a variety of countries, we certainly increase access as well.
So these courses are then really taught in either, I imagine, Lausanne, for instance, in their native language, French. But if the Australian university wants to offer this in Hindi and in Sanskrit, it is then not what I heard some a little bit skeptical voices of American imperialism in education coming and spreading all over the world, but really having the platform then, or at least having several courses in different languages that are then also being translated into English, or they stay in these specific languages. And well, if English or American students also speak Hindi, for instance, they can take this course.
Absolutely. This is so far removed from American imperialism that it is not even funny. We have universities from all over the world. We are talking to a number of other universities from around the world, and they will be offering their courses on the platform the way they teach them. It's universities that are completely free to put up courses of their choice, so they can put up whatever they want. edX or its partner institutions do not impose any restrictions on the universities. Of course, the courses must be of high quality. So quality is very important. But other than that, the courses could be on any topic. Over time, they will begin offering courses in multiple languages, and people all around the world take these courses. So I think diversity is a critical component of the edX.org and our platform.
So do you think, as well, over the past, let's say, year or so, we have had an enormous amount of articles in the tech press about one or the other MOOCs, and it was basically definitely one of the topics of 2012. Was it more helpful, or was it almost a little bit too hyped by some media outlets?
So I think it's all for a good cause. And last year, I like to say that last year, 2012, was a decade of innovation. Mm-hmm. We had 10 years worth of innovation, or maybe more, happen in education in the space of 1 year. And if something has to be hyped, yes, it has been hyped. Let's be honest about that. There has been a lot of hype. But I believe that if something has been hyped, then I'd much rather that it be education than something else. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine a better thing to be brought to public knowledge than education. And I think because of the press reaching out around the world and spreading the word about increasing access, we have students from around the world taking our courses. We have students from 192 countries registered on edX, taking edX courses. Faculty are excited about putting courses on the platform. We are all excited about improving the quality of learning on our campuses. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen such a groundswell of enthusiasm to improve education in my entire career of 25 years. So I think this is a good thing, and I continue encouraging the press to continue spreading the word about MOOCs, spreading the word about how students can take all of these courses and how we can also improve the quality of education on our own campuses. So this is good for universities, this is good for professors, and this is good for students. So I really like to think of online learning as a rising tide that will lift all boats, whether increasing access to students around the world or whether it is improving campus education as well.
Mm-hmm. So I said before that we are, of course, still pretty early on. Do you have an idea already of what works best? A complete online experience with sort of finding study partners even when you had no previous connection with them whatsoever, maybe not even having a shared cultural experience, being from the same country, or does it work for a good part of the students that they have a more blended approach? How do you see that?
So that's a really good question. And as we experiment, let me start by giving you two hard data points. Mm-hmm. Okay, and those are facts. And then after that, I'll dream about what the future might look like.
Great.
So for now, if you go by number of students having successfully passed a course as one metric of a result, or one metric of goodness. For the circuits course that we offered first on our platform, 155,000 students took it, and 5% of the students passed the course. Okay, so that's 5%. That was a purely online MOOC experience. Mm-hmm. Then the same course was taught at San Jose State University in a blended model. In that blended model, the students watched the videos, did the interactive game-like laboratories in their dorm rooms, they did the interactive exercises in the dorm rooms, and then they came to class where they interacted with the professor and teaching assistants, and they asked questions, they did local discussions, and some exercises on in person. So in that class, the success rate was 91%. Okay, so these are two bookends. Okay, you have 5% for the MOOC, purely mm-hmm. online, and 91% for what we call a SPOC, mm-hmm. a small private online course, which is a blended class. Now, you can look at these two and say, what were the differences? Okay, and certainly today, the blended models are much more successful based on this data than a purely MOOC model. But over time, I think we're going to bring some of the blended benefits onto the purely online classes as well. So, for example, you can have a self-assessment at the beginning of a class. Your students can assess themselves and see if they have the background to take the course. And so the student finds that they don't have the background. So for the circuits course, if they did not have a background in calculus, for example, the course would be very hard. So we can give them a self-assessment where they answer a few questions on calculus to see if they may be able to master the material. So by doing things like this, it will reduce the numbers, but certainly it will increase the percentage of people that successfully pass the course. We can also increase the amount of contact and interaction we have with the students. So a large number of edX students are already creating meetup groups. Mm-hmm. So we encourage students to go to meetup groups. And even without meetups, they're also forming groups themselves and taking the courses together. And the number of examples, there's one set of students in the Middle East where one student was dropping out from the class in the discussion forum, where the other student said, hey, we are from the same town that you are in. Let's sit down and meet up together, and we will help you with the course. So we have examples where working in groups will also help. So I think, you see the two bookends, 5%, 91%. And the question is, how do we build new technologies and new social interactions into the platform to increase the success rate? And we are very interested in doing that. But certainly the blended model is very successful, and we believe that our universities will move to the model in future, because I really, really believe that the blended model is much better even than our existing bricks and mortar campus model.
Then I let you dream a little bit towards the end of our nice talk. And how do you imagine the future of education? I mean, it's very hard and a very broad question, but let's say 3 to 5 years from now.
So 3 to 5 years from now, I can dream 3 to 5 years from now, and then we can dream, 20 or 30 years from now.
Up to you.
Absolutely. So in the short term, I think we'll see more and more students taking online courses around the world. The numbers are up to 725,000 students and increasing by tens of thousands of students every week. So more and more students will take these courses, and they will find success in jobs and admissions into universities. On campuses, we are seeing more and more of online technologies being brought into our campus. So with the edX partners, many of our universities are offering more MOOC courses on campus in a blended model than they're offering outside. So we'll see more and more of these technologies coming back into campus. So just as one example, in a course offered at MIT, a number of students took the course because because this was a way of eliminating conflicts. So they had a conflict with the class, so they took an online class, a blended class to minimize conflict. So we'll see more and more reasons why we want to bring this onto campus. We will see campus improving as well. I think in the much longer term, 10 or 20 years ahead, as I dream about it, I really see us potentially moving towards what I call continuous education. Not continuing education, but continuous education. With continuous education, we question the very model, which is, why should students go to university for 4 years of their life at the beginning of their career? And in my own experience, I may be using 20 or 30% of what I learned in my 4 years at my own undergraduate university, IIT Madras. So what about all the stuff that you could learn after? So today we just pick that up on the job. So just imagine a continuous model where before students come into university, they've taken some online courses, maybe from that very university. And then they go to the university, get a campus experience, do a lot of blended courses, interact with professors, do research, and so on. And then after they leave the university, they do continuous education for the rest of their lives, taking courses as alumni, not just at one university, or maybe other universities too. And so I think they'll have this continuous model. And how much time do they spend in university? I don't know. Will it be 4 years? Will it be 2 years? Time will tell.
Yeah, probably also then combining this with some what we call more informal forms of learning, so that we really come to the very fascinating idea of a life full of learning, maybe, or hopefully. Absolutely.
I think people should be lifelong learners. And another initiative that we have started, partnering with Boston as the first prototype, is called Boston X. So there, Cambridge is looking to do Cambridge X. And so the idea of City X is to create community centers, spaces in libraries that people can meet and take courses online, where they can collaborate with the local university like Harvard or MIT or Boston University, and have student volunteers or professor volunteers come and lend support at the community center, so that continuing learners can take courses in those areas and also form communities. So I think this is another important area that we will see blossoming in the future.
Awesome. That sounds very fascinating and intriguing indeed. So thank you, Anant, so much for taking the time and giving us insights on edX and really how the plans are now for your international partnerships. And I wish you continued success. And thanks again for talking with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much. And I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.